in the grand kingdom of Obaland. King Adwale had everything a monarch could desire: vast lands, loyal subjects, and immense wealth. But his heart carried a heavy burden. Despite having 3 beautiful wives, Amina, Bisi, and Chiamaka had no male heir to carry on his legacy. The weight of this expectation fell heaviest on his wives, especially Amina, the first wife, who felt the sting of societal pressure and the king's subtle disappointment most acutely. One morning, after another fruitless visit from the royal physicians, Amina made a desperate decision. She announced to the entire palace that she was finally with child. The kingdom erupted in celebration. King Adwale was overjoyed, showering Amina with gifts and affection. Bisi and Chiamaka offered their congratulations, though a flicker of envy was hard to hide. For 9 months, Amina played her part perfectly. She wore loose-fitting robes, feigned morning sickness, and spoke lovingly to her growing belly. The whole kingdom watched, holding its breath in anticipation. Behind the scenes, Amina was orchestrating a perilous scheme with her most trusted handmaiden, Saad. They had secretly arranged to procure a newborn baby boy from a distant village, a child born to a poor family who couldn't afford to keep him. The plan was timed to the very hour. Finally, the day of the supposed delivery arrived. The palace was a flurry of activity. Midwives bustled in and out of Amina's chambers, their faces etched with concern. Hours passed. The king paced anxiously outside, his prayers echoing in the long corridors. Bisi and Chiamaka waited with the rest of the court, their own hopes and fears tangled together. Inside the room, Amina writhed in a convincing display of labor. As the sun began to set, Saad slipped out through a secret passage and returned moments later, a tiny, sleeping infant swaddled in her arms. At that exact moment, Amina let out a final, triumphant cry. The midwives, who had been strategically distracted, rushed to her side. Saad seamlessly placed the baby into the birthing cloths. The chief midwife, an experienced and wise old woman named Funk, lifted the baby. "A prince is born," she declared. The palace doors were thrown open, and the news spread like wildfire. King Adwale rushed in, his eyes filled with tears of joy as he looked upon the son he had longed for. He cradled the baby, a perfect, healthy boy, and named him acutely, meaning the crown fills the home. The kingdom rejoiced with feasts and festivities that lasted for 7 days. Amina was hailed as the mother of the heir, her position in the kingdom secured forever. Years passed, and Prince acutely grew into a strong, intelligent, and compassionate young man, the pride of his father and the kingdom. Amina doted on him, her secret buried deep within her heart. But secrets, especially in a royal court, have a way of unraveling. The first thread came loose when Saad, now old and frail, fell gravely ill. On her deathbed, her conscience weighed heavily upon her. She confessed the entire story to the chief midwife, Funk, begging her to keep the secret to protect the prince. Funk was horrified. Her loyalty was torn between the queen she had served and the truth she now held. Funk decided she could not live with such a monumental lie. She sought a private audience with the king's most trusted advisor, an elder statesman named Chief Balagan. She recounted Saad's confession, her voice trembling. Chief Balagan, known for his wisdom and integrity, knew this revelation could shatter the kingdom. He advised caution. They needed proof, something more than the word of a dying handmaiden. Their investigation began in secret. They traveled to the distant village Saad had mentioned, a place so remote it was barely on any map. There, after weeks of discreet inquiries, they found an elderly woman. Her name was Ayaduni, and her story matched Saad's confession perfectly. She tearfully recounted how poverty had forced her to give up her newborn son many years ago, a boy with a unique star-shaped birthmark on his shoulder. Chief Balagan returned to the palace, his heart heavy. He knew what he had to do. During the annual festival of the New Yam, a time of celebration and togetherness, he approached Prince acutely as the young man was preparing for a wrestling match. With a gentle excuse, he asked the prince to remove his ceremonial robes. And there, on acutely's shoulder, was a small, faint, star-shaped birthmark. The truth was undeniable. Chief Balagan, with Funk by his side, presented the evidence to King Adwale. The king's world crumbled. The joy he had felt for years turned to ash. His love for Amina curdled into a bitter betrayal. He summoned her to the throne room. Faced with the undeniable proof, Amina's carefully constructed world collapsed. Her confession came in a torrent of tears and desperate apologies. The king was faced with an impossible choice. He could disown Atakuna, the son he had raised and loved, and plunge the kingdom into a succession crisis. Or he could accept the truth and redefine what it meant to be family. Looking at Atakuna, who stood before him with quiet dignity despite the earth-shattering revelation, the king saw not a stranger, but his son. In a stunning royal decree, King Adwael announced the truth to his people. Prince Adekuni the boy, from a poor village, became a symbol of hope and a testament to the idea that true royalty lies in character, not just birthright.